BTS V, one of the most searched figures globally, surpassing soccer legends Ronaldo and Messi. BTS's V, also known as Kim Taehyung, has once again proven his global influence. The K-pop star has secured the number 4 spot on Google's list of most searched people worldwide in 2025, surpassing several international icons in sports, music, and politics. The news comes ahead of BTS's full group comeback in March 2026, when the group will release a new album, ARIRANG, followed by a world tour spanning 5 continents, 31 cities, and 79 shows. In an era defined by digital connectivity, Kim Taehyung, known to the world as V of BTS, has solidified his status as a cultural titan. According to data compiled by the resource platform Jagran Josh, the 30-year-old artist has claimed the 4th position on the prestigious list of Google's most searched people worldwide in 2025. This achievement places him in a rarefied echelon of global fame, ranking immediately after figures such as Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Taylor Swift. Notably, his search volume surpassed that of legendary athletes Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, as well as musical heavyweights like Drake and Kendrick Lamar. The report highlights that V's influence is currently at the center of discussions in more than 70 countries. This surge in interest is attributed not only to his anticipation-building role in BTS's upcoming return, but also to his explosive solo career, his highly engaged Instagram presence, and unique fashion sense that has captivated the luxury world. This ranking reaffirms his position as the most searched K-pop idol globally for the first half of 2025, proving his ability to command the spotlight even during the hiatus of group activities. Furthermore, in a demographic analysis of most searched male artists born after 1990, V secured the 6th spot, standing alongside Western pop giants like Justin Bieber and Harry Styles. This consistent data, tracking back to his debut in 2013, underscores an enduring appeal that transcends the typical life cycle of a pop star. Beyond the statistics, his solo projects, including the widely acclaimed mini-album Layover and singles like Winter Bear, have charted domestically and internationally, keeping his artistic identity distinct and vibrant. As the world prepares for the release of ARIRANG and the subsequent massive world tour in 2026, these numbers serve as a quantitative testament to a qualitative truth. V is no longer just a K-pop idol. He is a global icon. However, to simply look at the search metrics is to miss the profound human story buried beneath the algorithms. The irony of Kim Taehyung being the most searched person is stark when one considers that his journey began in total obscurity, hidden away from the very world that now clamors to find him. To understand the magnitude of his rise, one must look past the Gucci suits and the flashing cameras to find the story of a boy who was once kept in the shadows, a boy who grew up believing his destiny lay in the soil of a farm, not the stars of the global stage. The narrative of Kim Taehyung is steeped in humble beginnings and unlikely odds. Born in Daegu and raised for a significant portion of his childhood in the rural county of Gyeocheong, his early life was far removed from the glitz of the entertainment industry. He was raised primarily by his grandmother, a woman he loved with a fierce, tender devotion. In those quiet years among the fields, his dreams were simple and grounded. He famously stated in early interviews that if he hadn't become a singer, he would have likely become a farmer, pulling weeds and harvesting crops alongside his grandmother. The silence of the countryside was his first audience. His entry into the music world was a twist of fate, a serendipitous moment that fans now view as legendary. As a teenager, Taehyung had not intended to audition for big hit entertainment. He had gone merely to support a friend who dreamt of being an idol. He stood on the sidelines, a supportive observer, until a rookie development team member noticed the striking boy with the intense gaze and asked him to audition on the spot. He had to call his father for permission right there in the hallway. That singular, spontaneous moment severed him from the life of a farmer and placed him on a path of thorns and roses. Yet, Entering the company was not the start of immediate glory. It was the beginning of a unique and isolating struggle that would define his character. During the grueling trainee period, while other members of what would become BTS were gradually introduced to the public through vlogs and social media logs, Taehyung was kept a secret. He was the hidden member. For over a year, he lived in a state of suspended existence. He lived in the same cramped dorms, ate the same food, and practiced the same grueling hours, sweating until his body ached. Yet, when the cameras turned on for the group logs, he had to step out of the frame. There is a specific, piercing loneliness in being present but invisible. He later confessed that during group log shootings, he would stand by the trash can or hide in corners, watching his friends interact with the few fans they had, wondering if he would ever be revealed. He wrestled with a terrifying uncertainty. Was he hidden because he was a secret weapon, or was he hidden because he wasn't good enough? The fear of being cut from the lineup at the last second was a constant, breathing shadow. Imagine the psychological toll on a teenager, far from his grandmother and his parents, working for a dream that refused to acknowledge his existence. He was a ghost in his own life. When he was finally revealed to the world just days before the group's debut, the reception was overwhelming, but the scars of that isolation remained. He had learned early on that visibility is a privilege, not a right. As BTS began their ascent, Taehyung faced a different kind of struggle. With his soulful baritone voice and his eccentric, free-spirited personality, he didn't always fit the standard mold of a K-pop idol. In the early years, his unique behavior was sometimes misunderstood. He was labeled with nicknames that dismissed his depth, and his thoughtful pauses were mistaken for blankness. He often struggled to articulate his complex, colorful thoughts into words, leading to moments of frustration where he would retreat into silence. He was trying to be himself in a world that often demanded a polished product. The most heartbreaking chapter of his journey, however, came in 2016. It was a year that marked BTS's explosive rise, but for Taehyung, it was a year of private devastation. While he was smiling for the cameras, shooting music videos, and performing high-energy choreography for Blood, Sweat and Tears, he was secretly carrying the weight of impending loss. His grandmother, the woman who had raised him for 14 years and served as his second mother, passed away while he was on tour in the Philippines. The cruelty of the idol life is that the show must go on. V had to suppress his grief. He had to wear the mask of the perfect superstar while his heart was shattering. 4 days, he held it in, performing with the same intensity, smiling at fans, engaging in interviews. It wasn't until a concert weeks later that the dam finally broke. Standing on stage, with tears streaming down his face, he finally shared his pain with the fans. He spoke of his grandmother with a vulnerability that silenced the stadium. It was a moment that stripped away the idol persona and revealed a grieving grandson who just wanted to say goodbye. That sacrifice, delaying his own mourning for the sake of the group and the fans, remains one of the most painful testaments to his dedication. Even after BTS conquered the world, becoming the biggest band on the planet, the shadows did not disappear. They merely changed shape. The global pandemic brought a period of intense burnout and introspection. In his self-composed track, Blue and Grey, he opened a window into his mental state. The lyrics were a haunting confession of anxiety, emptiness, and a feeling of being consumed by a grey fog. He questioned his happiness. He questioned if the path he was on was the right one. Despite the awards, the millions of dollars, and the adulation, he felt a profound loneliness. He showed the world that it is possible to be the most loved person on earth and still feel empty. What makes Kim Taehyung truly beloved, however, is not just his ability to endure pain, but his refusal to let the world harden him. He responded to the pressure not with anger, but with a gentle, almost childlike wonder. He turned to jazz music, painting, and photography, finding solace in the slow, quiet beauty of art. He created the phrase, Borahi, or I purple you, giving a definition to the love between BTS and their fans. Purple is the last color of the rainbow, so it means I will trust and love you for a long time. He created a legacy of love out of a simple color, showing the depth of his emotional intelligence. His kindness is often found in the small details. Verified accounts from industry staff and journalists frequently mention V's politeness. He is known to greet every cameraman, every security guard, and every assistant with a bow and a smile. On the fan platform Weverse, he interacts with fans not as a distant celebrity, but as a friend. He plays video games with them, gives them blunt but caring advice, and shares blurry photos of his daily life. He treats his fame not as a pedestal, but as a bridge to connect with others. His solo debut with the album Layover was the ultimate declaration of his identity. Instead of chasing the high-energy pop trends that guarantee chart success, he released a slow, R&B and jazz-inspired album. He chose to slow down. He chose to show his natural face, often appearing without makeup. It was a risk, but it was a risk he took to reclaim his own pace. He showed the world that he was done rushing to meet expectations. Today, as he stands as the fourth most searched person on the planet, beating out legends of sport and politics, the irony is palpable. The boy who was once hidden by his agency is now the most sought-after face in the world. But if you look closely at Kim Taehyung, you don't just see the record breaker. You see the resilience of a man who waited in the dark until it was his time to shine. You see the love of a grandson who still looks up at the sky, hoping his grandmother is watching. The statistics are impressive, but the soul behind them is what commands the true silence of respect. The world searches for him, perhaps, because in his vulnerability and his strength, they find a piece of themselves. He represents the quiet victory of staying true to oneself in a noisy world. And as the searches continue to climb, what remains is not just the digital footprint of a superstar, but the enduring legacy of a boy who simply wanted to be loved for who he is.